Hey everybody, I'm going to show you how I do some of these trim pieces. And this is a window trim here, and you can do, basically any of the trim or things that aren't on the main. Like this is the vent, that goes below the front window. And this thing here can be done the same way. I'm going to do it the same way. But anyway, the whole process is, these are somewhat rusted in there. So the idea is to get rid of the rust, and of course this is the exterior finish right here. This has rust on it. A little bit of rust, not super bad, but the rust doesn't go away. So what you got to do, the process that I use, is I'll sand it down as well as possible. Then I will take, in areas that you can't sand, like in here, just use a wire brush in here and wire brush the rust on the inside. Just try and get it as good as you can. Probably the worst part right here on this trim. You can't too much in there. Sometimes you might be able to take and get something in there. That isn't going to do anything though. So basically I'm using wire brush. I'm using block with some 120 grit, and then I've got a 3-inch DA. Which cleans it up pretty good. If you got to use the block to get into some areas. You do that, brush it off, blow it off, listen to the dog bark, and then you can, okay, hold on. Anyway, where was I? So, sand it down. If it's real heavy rust, I use this rust converter stuff here. This, basically, it's kind of a milky stuff that you just brush on and let it set and dry. It dries, it's not washed off or anything. You just let her dry. Usually it should dry for like 48 hours before you cover it or any of that type of stuff. But for the lighter rust, I just use the Rust-Oleum Rust Reformer. This stuff is great. There's the brand that Harbor Freight carries it's a rust reformer. And it's a clear, and it turns black after it when it dries. This stuff here is black and just stays black, and both of them work like a primer. So basically you put this on, let it dry, and then you can paint over top of it. Now in this particular job, a lot of stuff, I'm doing black trim. I use the SEM Trim Black Spray paint. It's great for small parts. If you don't want to mix up paint, put it in a spray gun. Every time you do some little tiny part, this is a great way to go. It's pretty durable. It's better than your standard black paint. This is a satin black, so it doesn't show up. And if you got a little bit of pitting from rust or anything like that, it doesn't show up as bad. So that's basically it. Now let me I'll get this cleaned up and done, and we'll go from there. So anyway, after you get through sanding it, just wipe down any spots with a scuff pad, and just go over, make sure everything has been gone over. Scuff pad helps you get in the little spots where where the sander won't get. But that's pretty much it. Blow it off. Then take and hit it with a little prep all. Clean it up. Again, try to get most of the stuff off of there. No matter what you do, you're not going to get all of it off. It's just not going to happen. You try to get into this in there, but you get a little bit of it just to get any excess rust that it's not going to blow off. Anyway, that's basically it there. Now for this, just use the rust reformer and just spray it in here. This will basically halt the rust, any rust that's still there. Rust doesn't come out of the metal, it's always in there. So it has to be chemically transitioned. It doesn't matter if you get runs. In fact, you put a lot in there, it doesn't hurt it. This stuff dries fairly quickly. Take the back side here. So this bottom edge of this here will have a felt on it when it's all said and done. Anyway, just make sure you get this in there, covering the rust. Okay, we give it a minute here. Once you finish up with the rust reformer, then just take and hit it with the trim black. Put a couple coats on there. Now this is the driver's side inner door trim, and it's kind of ironic that, and of course this came off a 1-ton truck. It was basically a farm truck. I think they did some logging with it actually, and the only spot, the worst spot of rust on this is right here, and this is the bottom. It's where the driver would put his arm, rest his arm right there, and it's pitted right in this area, right where his arm would rest. So all the years of him resting his arm up there, and the sweat got into the metal after it wore off the paint, got in the metal and pitted it. It's a pretty interesting little idea. Anyway, we'll let that dry, and well, let's see, before if you're dealing with pieces that don't have rust on them, instead of using the Rust Restore paint, I just use the self-etching primer on there first, sand it down, then use the self-etching primer, and then go to the trim black. It works for ones that don't have rust. Or if you're doing aluminum, or actually this stuff here is aluminum, stainless, bare steel, fiberglass, plastic. Basically, it's good for all that type of stuff. This is the brand that I get from Harbor Freight. This is Harbor Freight, and their Rust Restore is good. It's clear, like I said, turns black. It's some good stuff. Works really well. Anyway, I'll get back and show you where this goes here. All right, there we go. We got the window trim all installed. Pretty good. That's the way you do it. Remember, everybody, don't ever run out of projects. Take care.